January 14th, 1976 in Calcutta, Srila Prabhupada's birthplace. Prabhupada took his walk along the Ganga again. Although it was early morning, hundreds of people lined the riverbank, bathing, doing puja and washing their clothes. Srila Prabhupada commented on the simplicity of village life and the importance of the Ganges. Many people have come to the Mela for spiritual purification. The Mela in Calcutta? Okay, the Mela. Let's see. Carrying only a few possessions. Everywhere dhotis and saris hung on fences or were spread out on the ground to dry, their owners sitting or squatting nearby, patiently waiting. Prabhupada remarked that even if they only have one piece of cloth, they will not fail to wash it every day. That is Vedic culture. After breakfast prasadam, Prabhupada and I went to see an apartment at Park Circus. He is thinking of purchasing it for his son and daughter, who met us there. Prabhupada didn't say much to them, and after a few minutes we returned to the temple. After 12:30 p.m. during his massage, which he took sitting on a mat in a little patch of sunlight on the bathroom floor, Tama Krishna Goswami came to report on a visit he and Jayapataka Swami had just made to the Sri Chaitanya Math. They had talked with Madhava Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, showing him Prabhupada's translation of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. They asked if Prabhupada's book could be displayed there during a current 5-day festival the Mata was holding. But Madhava Maharaj only gave them excuses why it was not possible. As they were leaving the Mata, Tama Krishna and Jayapataka stopped to talk with the secretary. He appeared interested and friendly, and he inquired about the books. The secretary said that he felt they should follow our example in preaching, but were tied up too much in routine temple maintenance work. Looking at their advertising brochure, Prabhupada noted that the invited speakers included no sannyasis or spiritual personalities, simply government ministers and the like. Whereas for us, Prabhupada's books are the main feature of our preaching work, he noted that after 40 years, the Gaudiya Math is still selling Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's books. He was critical that they have not been able to produce any literature of their own. He said that many of his godbrothers were envious of his success, of Prabhupada's success. He specifically named 3 of them by names. They are not here, the names. Adi Shauri usually puts all the names, but he didn't put these here. Prabhupada's comments show that he has learned not to expect anything from them. He told us we should avoid dealing with them. He said that rather than help, they will simply attempt to spoil our work. Hare Krishna. Let's stop here. Any comments on this? So what did we read first? Prabhupada's walk along the Ganga and the description what happened there at the Ganga. Prabhupada's morning walk in the West was very different from, the walk is the same, Prabhupada is walking with the devotees, but what the people do around is very different. Here, at the Ganges, early morning, means like 6 o'clock or something, hundreds of people are at the river. What are they doing there? They are not jogging like we do in a park or something. They are taking bath in the Ganges. 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun has just arisen. And they are doing puja to the Ganges. And they are also washing their clothes. And then they put their clothes for drying on fences or somewhere on the ground or wherever, and they sit next to it and wait until they dry. So Prabhupada says it is Vedic culture that even if a person only has one piece of cloth, he washes it every day. Every day, washing your clothes. You wear a piece of cloth only one day, then washing. Not keeping for 1 week or so. So then the next thing is only 4 lines. Prabhupada met his son and daughter only briefly because he wants to purchase an apartment for them. Nothing more about that. And then a meeting with Ramakrishna Goswami and Jayapataka Swami. No, only Ramakrishna Goswami is there, and Ramakrishna Goswami speaks of a visit that he, Ramakrishna, and made together with Jayapataka Swami to the Chaitanya Math. And they have an upcoming festival, and Ramakrishna and Jayapataka, they were suggesting to put Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita there. So, but they didn't want to do it. Yeah. And then a few comments on Prabhupada on that. Prabhupada was seeing the brochure they had for advertising this festival, this 5-day festival, and he saw that there were no spiritual speakers invited. Only government ministers would speak at the festival. And then there is another thing that catches my attention, that Prabhupada says that after 40 years, the Gaudiya Math is still selling Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's books because they have not been able to produce any literature of their own. So, what do you think about that? Because we are doing the same, no? Are we doing the same? No? Okay.
Because there are a lot of spiritual masters
who write books. Yeah, but we are selling Srila Prabhupada's books, no? Mainly, or not? Yeah. So how can that be a criticism here? That Prabhupada's God brothers are selling his Guru Maharaj's books? What do you think?
Because they should produce their own books also.
Hmm.
We need, of course,
Yeah.
the spiritual masters' books.
Yeah. I mean, Prabhupada also made other statements, no? For example, that his books will be the law books of the world for the next 10,000 years. So there's no question not selling them or studying them. Yeah, anyway, I find this curious, this point. I mean, it certainly means, as you say, Rule, that the disciples of a spiritual master, especially in a bigger movement where there are many disciples, they should grow up, or at least some of them should grow up and be able to write spiritual books. No, isn't it? Is necessary. Actually, I think it will be, I mean, we have Prabhupada's books, that is clear. They are the basis of the movement. Of everything we do, we take our instructions from them. Everything we practice ourselves, and also the way we talk amongst us, philosophy, and also the way we present the philosophy. So that is without question. But I personally think if we don't learn how to present the message ourselves in our own words, according to the people we talk to, this movement will not have a great effect on society. Do you agree? Or you think we should just, as we do, distribute Prabhupada's books and repeat his words as they are? And it might also work. I don't know, but personally I have the feeling that first of all it would be good for us to learn to present Krishna consciousness in our own words, because it means you have to really think about it. You have to really study well before you can present it, because you don't want to present any nonsense. You want to present the philosophy as it is, as Prabhupada and as the Acharyas present the philosophy in their books, but in your own words. So this means realization has to take place, otherwise you won't be able to do it. You have to study, you have to assimilate, you have to think about it, you have to practice in your own life, then you make advancement yourself, and you will see the reality gradually. You will see the spiritual truth. And then you can speak very well, under all circumstances, to all kinds of people. Too quick? Yeah. Shall I repeat the last one? Okay. So that is for our own benefit, and also for the benefit of people. Maybe there are people who get Prabhupada's books on the street, they open the book, they read it, and they understand fully what it is, and yes, this is the purpose of life. This is the goal of life. This is the highest. Just forget about everything else and surrender to Krishna. Full stop. That is not so often that happens. That is our experience. Now, okay, if we speak ourselves, it may also not happen immediately. Or if we write our own books that maybe connect more with the feeling of society right now, it might also not work immediately. But I think the combination of Prabhupada's books, words of an Acharya, and our own speaking, with everything else that we do, can have a bigger effect on society. No? Actually, we have so many means of preaching. Just distribution of prasadam is a so powerful means of preaching that there is no comparison to Krishna cuisine, the kitchen of Krishna, the Vedic preparations. There is no comparison. If we just learn to make this really perfect, and we have really good cooks, We have so good recipes. Nothing compares with that. Then, and present this to the public. No, Sunday feast is nice, but people don't come so much. No, public places like restaurants where people used to go. We should have so many restaurants, and the preparation should be so good that by the tongue they become captured. If not by anything else, by the tongue. Wow, this is extraordinary food. What is this? I have to go there again and again and again. Naturally, they become Krishna conscious. Actually, I recently read that Prabhupada said in 1976, this year, what we are reading now, said to Tama Krishna Goswami, stop making new temples. We have sufficient temples. Now, restaurants with reading rooms. All over the world. Preaching will be restaurants. And the restaurant also had a room with books. And actually, for myself, I can very much relate to that. Because I joined Krishna consciousness, because this temple had a restaurant with a room for reading books. Actually, the room was a restaurant itself. There was a bookshelf. But I came here and to the restaurant. I would have never gone to the temple. I mean, never doesn't exist, but I cannot imagine how it could occur in my mind to go to a temple. It's too far away. It was too far away for me, for my culture, for my upbringing. But to eat food in a restaurant? No, I didn't like to cook at the time. I went to outside to eat very often. So I tried this restaurant also. I was interested in vegetarian food. And I became captured by my tongue and also my consciousness. Because I could feel, what a pleasant atmosphere. I feel very relaxed here. So, something special, very special place. And coming more often, there were also books on the shelf, and there was a period where the waitress in the restaurant, they had another waitress, and she needed a long time to put the food on the table. Inexplicably long. No one can understand it. Imagine a restaurant here, and you have, in the restaurant there are 3 guests. So there are 3 orders. How long do you think could it maximum take to put food on the table? The food was already cooked, ready. It was in the morning, everything was cooked, 2 sabjis, rice. It just had to, from the kitchen, and it was not in the kitchen, it was in containers before her. Maybe a tea or a drink was made in the kitchen. How long does it take if you go very slowly, you think very slowly, to put food on the table? Make a suggestion. 30 minutes. But all the containers are there. You just have to heat a tea. 30. Are you sure? 30 minutes.
Maybe you go to first do some japa and then I don't know.
Okay, japa. Other suggestions? How long could it take? Maximum. Being very slow. Arjuna.
I focus translation.
How long? To put food on the table if everything is cooked already. You just have to serve. Okay, I make it short. It took 1 hour. Not once, but every time I came in this period, it took 1 hour. So I'm sitting in a restaurant. I'm hungry. I want to eat and go because I have to study. I was studying engineering at the university here, technical high school. 1 hour waiting. But behind me there was a bookshelf. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ishopanishad, many books. Okay, I take a book, I read a little bit. That was my reading. So this is Krishna's internal energy working. When the devotees are trying to present Krishna consciousness seriously, Krishna's internal energy takes over. And she makes any arrangement for the people to what they need to pick up Krishna consciousness. No? For me, the necessity was 1 hour waiting. So I don't only come for eating. The first month was only eating. Then Krishna thought, you should read some of the books. So I was reading the Gita before the prasadam came, and then it was so interesting. I was eating and I continued reading because I couldn't stop reading. And after I had finished, I was still reading. So anyway, that was Prabhupada's understanding at that time. If we have sufficient temples, next step is restaurants. Because with restaurants, you reach the public. People go to restaurants, no? In this country. They go to temples. Well, they don't even go to the church. What to speak of a Indian temple. But they go to restaurants. Especially nowadays. Many years ago, there were no vegetarian restaurants in Germany. 1976, when Prabhupada said that, vegetarian restaurant in Germany, I have never seen any at that time. When I became interested in Krishna, when I came to this restaurant, here that was 1995, 20 years later, there were a few vegetarian restaurants. Not many. Now it's full of vegetarian restaurants. It's normal to go to a restaurant. So if we present our food here and really do it well, people will come. There's no question. People will come. And we will feed them up to their neck with prasadam. What do you think is the result? Krishna's internal energy takes over. People will become attracted to Krishna consciousness. So we have food, we have music, singing and dancing, super music, we have all these things. But we also need to present the philosophy at one point, so it makes sense for people. And to speak in a way that it makes sense for people. It's very high philosophy. Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even Bhagavad Gita is high philosophy for people in this age. Yeah. So we need to present it in our words. Germans speaking to Germans. Turkish speaking to Turkish, Russian speaking to Russian. It makes a closer connection. You know the habits of your people. You have grown up with your people. You know how they speak. You know how they think. Auf Deutsch sagen wir wissen, wie der tickt. We know how they click. So, that is necessary. Yeah, and then if you are very proficient in presenting Krishna consciousness, you can write books also. You have to. Articles, newspaper, magazine, and books also. Along with Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books are our standard. for all times, always. Hare Krishna. Sorry, as soon as I start talking about the things in Transcendental Diary, I cannot stop. Any commentaries or questions? Do you agree? When are you going to write your next book? When are you going to open a restaurant or do any of these things? I mean, you are already doing a lot. No? I mean, we are not many devotees here in Köln or Germany. So we have to do Harinam. Now there's a book marathon. So many things to do. Yeah, but I still hope that in the future there will be more and more restaurants in Germany and around the world. There will be more Harinams, there will be more book distribution, and there will be more devotees, expert in presenting Krishna consciousness to their fellow people. And all this together means we require education. That everyone can learn these skills and practice. Apart from our personal sadhana, chanting of 16 rounds, everything else we do, worshipping the deities. Apart from our missionary work, the preaching work, there should be also training, studying and training, learning things. We are still thinking that the way things were in the beginning of the movement, when there was nothing, when Krishna consciousness was just spreading, the way things were at that time when Prabhupada was there, everything was improvised. A temple was opened and the devotees who happened to be there had to do all the activities. Everything, without much training, learning by doing, improvising. And when we hear our elders, Prabhupada disciples, speak about those times, it was so blissful. Just adventure. Going to a new city, renting an apartment, a storefront, and opening a temple. Going on Harinam all day, distributing books, making programs, and people came, and learning everything on the fly. How to distribute books, how to worship the deities, how to give classes, how to play instruments, everything on the fly. Yes, it was very blissful. But if we want to make our movement really good and strong, we have to start training and education. So everyone is expert in what he or she is doing. Really good. Of course, if you have a situation like that at that time, everything has to be done quickly. You have to improvise, do things for Krishna now with what you can now. Just learn it and do it and develop it. But as we become more established as a society, we need this education and training program. And Prabhupada himself envisioned that. He wanted to establish Varnashram colleges in ISKCON. Varnashram Dham, to introduce Varnashram Dham, in ISKCON does not only mean that everyone can be active and work according to his or her nature, tendency to work and talents and all this. That is one aspect. The other aspect is, if your Varna is clear, your activities are clear, this is the way you will work for all your life. So in the beginning of your life, you learn very nicely what you are going to do for the rest of your life. You take some training. That is part of every society. It's part of German society, American society, everywhere there's education. Children go to school for 10 years, up to 13 years, then very intelligent people, or now almost everyone can go to university. You can further study at university, or you learn a practical job for 3 years in Germany. And I think other countries are similar. And apprenticeship, training on the job. You learn a job, a work. In Germany it's 3 years. I think in other countries it must be similar. In your country, how is it? To train for a practical job, not university. How long? How many years? What is the conclusion? 3 years. Yeah. Vedic society was also like that. Hare Krishna movement in the beginning was different. That was a different situation. One Mahabhagavata, Acharya coming, and a lot of hippies joining, 20 years old. That was a different situation. Prabhupada had 10 years, he wanted to establish a worldwide movement. No time for Varnashram Dham college, okay? We had to go to the essence, bhakti, deeply, and preaching. But after, at the end of Prabhupada's life, he envisioned that, okay, the future should be different. Very accurate training. Vedic society means accurate training. 3 years to learn, apart from general education, 3 years learning the work that you are going to do the rest of your life is necessary. No, this must be our future. When we can start organizing a little bit more, when we become more devotees, we have to learn how to do everything perfectly for Krishna. Now, society has to be organized like that. There are brahmanas, the teachers, those who study very deeply everything and teach others. The kshatriyas who organize everything perfectly with determination, with a good overview, with managerial skills. The Vaishyas who know how to make it economically work so everyone can survive. There is sufficient food, there is everything you need. And the rest will just learn their specific profession and execute it perfectly. That will give another level of our movement. That is also another thing that I see is required. Any comments on that? You don't like to comment anything today, huh? So then we go to the Bhagavata. Is 44 or 45?
44. Okay.
continue with the story of Ajamir. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Text 44. Sakam Vihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Haimam Vimanam Aruya Yayao Yatra Shriya Pati Sakam Vihasa Sakam Vihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Haimam Vimanam Aruya Yayao Yatra Shriyapati Sakam Vihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Haimam Vimanam Aruya Yayao Yatra Shriyapati. Yes, please.
Sakarihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Hemam Vimanam Aruhya Yaya Yatra Shriyapati Sakarihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Haimam Vimanam Aruhya Yaya Yatra Shriyapati
Sakarihayasa Vipro
Sakarihayasa Vipro
Mahapurusha Kinkarai
Mahapurusha Kinkarai
Haimam Vimanam Aruya
Haimam Vimanam Aruhya
Yayao Yatra Shriyapati
Yaya Yatra Shriyapati Sakarihayasa Vipro Mahapurusha Kinkarai Haimam Vimanam Aruhya Yaya Yatra Shriyapati
Sakam along. Vihayasa by the path in the sky or the airways. Vipra, the Brahmana, Ajamil. Mahapurusha Kinkarai, with the order carriers of Lord Vishnu. Haimam, made of gold. Vimanam, an airplane. Aruya, boarding. Yayao, went. Yatra, where? Shriyapati, Lord Vishnu, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Translation. Accompanied by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, Ajamil boarded an airplane made of gold. Passing through the airways, he went directly to the abode of Lord Vishnu, the husband of the goddess of fortune. Purport. For many years, material scientists have tried to go to the moon, but they are still unable to go there. However, the spiritual airplanes from the spiritual planets can take one back home, back to Godhead, in a second. The speed of such a spiritual plane can only be imagined. Spirit is finer than the mind, and everyone has experienced how swiftly the mind travels from one place to another. Therefore, one can imagine the swiftness of the spiritual form by comparing it to the speed of mind. In less than a moment, a perfect devotee can return home back to Godhead immediately after giving up his material body. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasadubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So Ajamil is returning back home, back to Godhead. And in this verse it is explained how this happens. When you read the word-for-word translation of the verse, Vihayasa, by the pass in the sky or the airways, we know British Airways. You feel like you are at an airport. There are airlines. And then Vimanam, an airplane. Vimana is a word for airplane. So it was not that Ajamil, the soul, went back to Godhead like like this. No, he was taken there by an airplane. And the airplane had pilots, and the Vishnu Dutas were flying the plane and accompanying Ajamil, taking him, no? Like British Airways. You have a pilot, you have a co-pilot, there are assistants, stewardesses, stewards, people pack your luggage, no? Everything is there. And then the next word after Vimanam, an airplane, is Aruya, boarding. So immediately I feel I'm like at an airport. Köln, Bonn, Düsseldorf, Frankfurt, everywhere in the world. These are expressions used in the connection of air travel. Air travel is the swiftest way of transporting people that we have at the present moment. Now, and in our present days, it's practically available for everyone, at least in our countries. More or less everyone can afford to fly to another country. It's even cheaper than going by train, or by car, or by bus, most of the time. To take an airplane is not only quick, convenient, it's even cheaper. So this is a special facility that we have now at the present moment. And yeah, we have airplanes now maybe for 100 years, a little longer, 120. The first experiment started. They tried, they were also crashing, and it was not very secure, only a few people could do it. Then later more people could do it, but it was expensive, it became more secure. Now many people can do it. But in order to be allowed to book an airplane, you need to get a ticket. First of all, you need to know where you want to go. You want to go to Rome, Calcutta, New York, is your choice. But you are not allowed on board unless you have purchased a ticket. So many things, material examples, can be applied on the spiritual level. There are airplanes, they are made of gold, that will bring you to the spiritual abode after quitting your body. That arrangement is there, like we can see in Bhagavatam. It is confirmed by authorities. Yes, but you have to get the ticket for it. Ajamil had the ticket. What was his ticket? Simply chanting the holy name of God at the point of his death. That is a ticket. That is your ticket also. It's not that Ajamil was a special person and he got a special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course it's special mercy, but that special mercy is for everyone. Krishna doesn't favor any one of his devotees more than another. Every living entity is his part and parcel. He wants everyone to come back. He wants to send his golden airplanes with the Vishnu Dutas on board to pick up everyone. Simply, you have to get the ticket also. Getting the ticket means you have to first earn money. You work for it. You have the desire to go back home to Godhead. And you learn the process, how to acquire the ticket. So the process in this age is the chanting of the holy names. Now, by chanting of the holy names of God, especially the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you are earning your ticket to Vaikuntha. That is sure. Prabhupada has promised us. The greatest Acharya has promised us. Krishna's representative has promised us. If we chant 16 rounds for the rest of our lives without fail, following the 4 regulative principles, we have our ticket in this life. If not, we can still practice in the next life and get more points together to get our ticket. But we can have our ticket now in this life. Everyone can have it. This is a promise of Prabhupada. Prabhupada has all the power. If Prabhupada promises one thing, Krishna will do it. Krishna will make it possible. There was once, after Prabhupada went to America, and Prabhupada has his first small assembly of devotees, just a handful of devotees, 10 or 12. And Prabhupada went through great difficulties to establish himself in New York. All of you know. Without any money. Zero. Without any help from anyone. Not even his god brothers were helping him. Not even sending any piece of musical instrument. Now, Prabhupada wrote them sometimes. Can you send a mridanga? Or can you support me financially? Or can you do? No one was willing to cooperate. Not before Prabhupada went to the US. You could think, okay, they thought it's impossible. We don't spend our energy in helping him there because he cannot make it. It's impossible. But even later, when they saw what Prabhupada built, a worldwide movement, here, what we just read, 10 years later, 1976, ISKCON was a worldwide movement. very strong movement. Even then they didn't want to help him. So Prabhupada went all alone. His health was not very good. He had severe health problems. He was already old, 70 years old. So, and he got a ticket for free on a steamship, a cargo ship, not a passenger ship, not an airplane. And when he was asking the owner of the steamship to allow him to go with that ship to go to New York, the owner was a lady, and she was a Vaishnavi, and that's why Prabhupada approached her. She will help me. But she just looked at Prabhupada and said, "What do you want to do there? You are an old sadhu. You will die there. Stay in Vrindavan. You have already reached the perfection. Stay in Vrindavan peacefully for the rest of your life. Chant the holy names. Visit the temples there. Your life is perfect already." In the US, it's very cold. The people there are very different. They will not understand a word what you are trying to tell them. What are you going to eat? You have no money. You have no friends there. Only thing was that Prabhupada was determined. He had the order of his Guru Maharaj. Vyavasa yatmika buddhya ekeha korananana. The intelligence of a determined person is fixed on one thing. And this one thing, what to do in your life, is the order of your spiritual master. The order of the spiritual master is powerful. We will come to that in the next chapter when Yamaraj answers the question of the Yamadutas. The Yamadutas wanted to drag Ajamil to hell because by the law of karma he has earned that. That was his ticket actually. His ticket was to go to hell. And the Yamadutas were there to take him. But they couldn't do it. First time in their life they have seen or heard about this, that the law of karma didn't work. It was, how do you say? It was cancelled. The law of karma was cancelled. The power that they had, being empowered by Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, the one who judges everyone according to what they have done, the good things and bad things, and gives them their next destination. The ticket is already there, is clear. Yamaraj decides, and not whimsically, but by laws, fixed laws. The Yamadutas perfectly knew these laws, and there can be no exceptions. This is what they thought. And they thought Yamaraj, our boss, is the supreme. He decides. And because we are his servants, and because Yamaraj is all-powerful, whatever we want to do as his servants, no one can come in our way. If you have a powerful boss, and you work under his order, his protection, no one can stop you. There sometimes is a feeling of a nation also, of a group of people, sometimes even of a nation, when they have a powerful leader. Therefore, a powerful personality in the government can mobilize people. We have the example in the Third Reich in Germany with Hitler. He was a powerful speaker. And in the beginning, general people in Germany were not so convinced. But by his personality, by his strong will, and by his ability of speaking, he was able to have a group of people around him who were following him blindly, completely trusting him. And then the group became bigger and bigger. And at one point he was able to take the government. This is a little bit special, and therefore historians still study that case. How in a democracy someone can, a tyrant, you know the word for tyrant? Tyrant is a leader who is ruling in a ruthless way. Tyrann. Is there another word for that in English? Dictator, yeah. Yeah, but very uncompromising. Scaring everyone. He was a tyrant. That could be seen already by his speeches. He has written a book, Mein Kampf. He had written a book. His vision is there completely. Everyone knew it. He was a tyrant. But still, by the power of his talking, people became convinced. And not only that, he could do things that were almost miracles. People thought it was miracles. This man is empowered by God. He presented himself as that. And destiny helped him also. Everything he did was successful. So the German population, at least a bigger part of it, believed in him. They thought, we can do anything. Everything that this man says, we execute it, we will be successful. And in the beginning stages of the Third Reich, this was the case, almost. Unfortunately, he was a very bad person as a leader. No. I'm just taking this as an example for a general rule that the Yamadutas were claiming later in the talk with Yamaraj. They say, if you are the supreme, we serve you because you are the supreme power. Like we serve devotees, we serve Krishna, of course because he's wonderful and everything, but also because he's the supreme personality of God and he's the supreme power. I know when I serve Krishna, I have the supreme God behind me. It's the supreme goal and I will be protected. When I serve Krishna, everything I do in the service will be successful. That is guaranteed. So the Yamadutas were thinking the same of Yamaraj. They said, you are the supreme. We thought you were the supreme and we were acting in your service, but now there were some people, the Vishnudutas, and they interrupted our service. How is it possible? If you are the supreme, we follow your orders, how is it possible that we are not successful? We have to be successful if you are the supreme. So we have seen that someone is more powerful than us. That means you cannot be the supreme. And Yamaraj admitted, yes, you're right, I'm not the supreme. So any devotee working on the order of his spiritual master, representative of Krishna, if you follow that instruction coming from Krishna through the representative, you must be successful. There cannot be any doubt about that. There cannot be any doubt. And Prabhupada knew this. A real devotee knows this. We should also know this. If you get an order by your spiritual master and you execute on that with full faith, with full determination, you will be successful. That is for sure. So, no one was supporting Prabhupada. He went alone. And yeah, actually there was a story that I wanted to tell. So, in the beginning, I think it was the first year after Prabhupada had established a temple in New York. For the first year in New York, there was no temple. Prabhupada needed 1 year to establish a temple. This level of determination. And then he had a temple with a few followers. His followers were very different from what he thought could be his followers. They were all young people, dropouts from society. Dropouts, yeah, from society. And most of them, practically all of them, were addicted to all kinds of sinful activities. They were into drugs, because that was the time for that. These kind of people, the dropouts, they were experimenting with drugs. The so-called hippies. And they were very much still in the hippie consciousness. But they had faith in Prabhupada. They were picking up on Prabhupada's instructions, coming to his classes, eating the food that Prabhupada prepared for them. And they were chanting Hare Krishna with him. So, and at one point Prabhupada started initiating those who he could see were more strict in following him. He started initiating them. And the initiation was just Prabhupada, okay, you, and you, tomorrow you will be initiated. There were no conditions. They didn't promise 16 rounds for regulative principles when they didn't promise it. Prabhupada just initiated them anyway. He didn't want to tell them, maybe he didn't want to tell them so they don't think about it. Just initiated. And after the initiation they asked, Prabhupada, now we are initiated disciples of you. Do you have any duties? Is there anything we have to do now? And only then Prabhupada said, yes, I'm glad you have asked. 64 rounds every day and the 4 regulative principles. Of course, Prabhupada then reduced it to 32 rounds when he saw, no, I will not make it. And then to 16. Yeah, anyway. But there was a lot of hippie consciousness still there in the community. Even the followers of Prabhupada who were more strict. So, Krishna became very happy with Prabhupada, that he has gone through such a trouble, ignoring what everyone else said, only following the instruction by his guru to go to the West and preach Krishna consciousness, to establish Krishna consciousness in the West. So this was the first sign that they are followers. So Krishna was very pleased with Prabhupada. And then Krishna told Prabhupada, I'm so happy with you. You can, but I'm so happy with you. You can wish anything that you want. I will give it to you. Krishna's heart is like that. When Krishna is happy with you, he wants to give you whatever you want. He wants to give you everything. Everything you want, you can have it. So Prabhupada said, okay, look, these are my new followers. I want you to accept them as your devotees, to take them home to your place. And Krishna looked at them, yeah, but my dear Abhay, they are not yet qualified. We have to wait a little bit. Let's see how they develop. Let's see how it goes. They are just starting. They have to make a lot of progress still. Let's see. And Prabhupada said, no, you have told me I can have a wish. I want you to accept them now. So, and Krishna had to accept them. And so, that is also stated by Shukadev Goswami in the Bhagavata, that the Mahabhagavata can convert, transform the consciousness, transcend the consciousness of every human being. It doesn't matter what quality your consciousness is. A Mahabhagavata can change your consciousness to a spiritual consciousness. He can make you qualified to go to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. No? So, sometimes also Prabhupada said to his disciple, actually you had no qualifications. I am the one, or I was the one who gave you the qualification. I was the one, in other words, who gave you the ticket. Usually you have to work for your ticket. Huh? Prabhupada can give you your ticket. He has he wants to give you your ticket. Just make a little effort. Singing and dancing, taking prasadam. Try to follow the rules and regulations. If you do that, Prabhupada explains in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, if you just try to follow the rules and regulations along with your chanting and dancing and taking prasadam, if you just try to follow the rules and regulations, if you don't neglect it, you will come to a point where you are able to follow them. Maybe now you still feel it was a bit too much. No? The background I'm coming from, I have so much nonsense in my mind, it's difficult, Prabhupada. So, but through this easy process of chanting, singing and dancing and taking prasad, you will be qualified. Your character, your mind becomes completely purified. And then, by this special mercy, you have earned your ticket, you have earned your place in the spiritual world. And when you give up your body, a golden airplane will come and take you to the spiritual world, like here with Adam. Just follow this process. Just do it. Just have faith in Srila Prabhupada's words. Hare Krishna. Any questions or commentaries? What? It's too easy? It's too difficult? Are you convinced? Convinced. Rule is completely convinced. I can see in your face. You are convinced? Yeah. So let's meet here as much as possible every day and chant and sing and dance and take prasadam as we are going to do now. You're already waiting for it. And your character, your personality will clean up. You will become purified, become a pure devotee, and then take part as much as possible in Prabhupada's mission also, to deliver others also. So that we are not only going in one airplane where we are alone, but we take huge airplanes with hundreds and thousands of people who are going back to the spiritual world. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kantarachima Bhagavatam ki jai.